Ladies and gentlemen, JP 730 Sports. Hope you enjoyed your holidays. We want to talk about this story. Peyton Manning being linked to HGH use. Now, according to the Huffington Post, a documentary airing on Al Jazeera tomorrow, I believe this show was the documentary is airing. Um, an Indianapolis anti-aging clinic um, and a man by the name of Charlie Sly are alleging that they were sending HGH to Peyton Manning's wife in her name for him during his last years with the Indianapolis Colts. Uh, Stories being reported on, like I said, the Huffington Post first, Deadspin, Yahoo Sports. Um, you know, Situations like this, first of all, we don't know if this is true. Um, but these stories tend to be true. And we usually find out about these stories because the individual who is supplying these drugs to these athletes, they tend not to keep their word on keeping things quiet. And, here's another situation where, this guy comes out, Charlie Sly, and just puts the business out that what he was doing and what he was sending and in the name of who. And this time the main subject is Peyton Manning. Now there were a couple other noted professional athletes that he mentioned, Ryan Howard, Ryan Zimmerman, and a few others. So apparently he was supplying painkillers to Clay Matthews. Now all of this is allegations, and the documentary, like I said, airs tomorrow, and we'll find out what's what in the long run. But these guys tend to be the type of people that, and these guys meaning Charlie Sly, your drug dealers for professional athletes and stars. They tend to keep records. So usually when they put these things out, it's just not their word. They tend to keep, you know, receipts, names on mailing lists, documents on a computer. They tend to have things that they can prove and back up these allegations. But I don't know if it's true or not. Like I said, we'll find out in the long run. But the thing is, if it is true, is it really that big of a deal? No, not really. Is it a big deal because it's Peyton Manning? Yes, it is. It absolutely is. Because even if we find out this story is not true, it's still a story, and his name is attached to it. We know about the neck injuries he was having. We know about the things he was going through from an injury standpoint ever since 2010. So he this is not a very good thing for Peyton Manning. So we'll see how this shakes out. I'm recording this at the half of the Philly Washington game, and of course they didn't say anything about it. NFL Network, they just sort of basically they're ignoring it right now. And that's the way they usually do it. I looked on ESPN, didn't see anything from it, but Yahoo Sports and Deadspin and the Huffington Post and a few other outlets, they're reporting what is being alleged on this documentary that is going to air tomorrow. Um, you know, I don't really have a problem with the use of HGH by professional athletes. I really don't, but others do. The NFL doesn't have any, from what they claim, they've never had any positive tests for HGH in the NFL. But at the same time, players have been suspended for performing enhancing drugs, and we were never told what they were. And you really can't trust the NFL to really give you the truth about anything. So as long as Roger Goodell's at the helm, you really can't trust what they're saying. So, but this is really not a good thing for the NFL because although Peyton Manning is riding the bench and injured and we don't know if he's ever going to start again, but that's a whole nother story. He's still a major face of the NFL. Um, if HGH and other drugs were being shipped to his wife for his use, um, that shows he was trying to get around the system. He was trying to beat the system, which, you know, calls out his character, which, most people around the NFL, fans and commentators and, talking heads, tend to think is impeccable. He's just a great guy. And even if we find out he was taking HGH, that doesn't make him any less of a man. He just did what he had to do at the time. He made a decision. And, when it comes home, you have to accept the consequences of the decisions you made. So, we'll see how this goes. But I find it hilarious that ESPN and the NFL Network have nothing on this story. Well, I don't find it surprising. Because the ESPN is in bed with the NFL so deep, basically they're not going to put anything out till the NFL says it's okay. And even when they do put it out, they'll spin it in a way that the NFL will be happy with. That connection with ESPN and the NFL is running very, very deep. It's almost disturbing how deep it runs. So, if you want to read this story, you'll have to go online and watch the documentary, which airs tomorrow. I definitely will watch it. I want to see what this guy has to say. Charlie Sly. He'll probably produce some documentation at some point, to prove what he's saying. But until then, we'll see what happens. And I'm going to leave it at that. It's JP 730 Sports. I'm out.